everybody, and I'm for Speed of Metal. I'm here in West Hollywood with Tommaso from Fleshgod Apocalypse. How are you tonight?
Very good.
Very good. So, okay, I hate starting the interview talking about tour and talking about the tour, but I think this tour deserves it
Yeah.
because you guys have been like selling out every night, and every comment on social media I've have read is raving about how amazing this tour is. Are you guys already used to this kind of reaction on tour?
I mean, we're we're getting used to it because I mean, in a way, it is new, but just because like we did one co-headlining with Septic Flesh 1 year and a half ago,
Mhm.
but this is actually our very first headlining tour in which we are like the only headliners and we have support bands. And I mean, of course, the package is amazing. We've been working with Karakangren before, and I think we really fit together very well.
Yeah.
So it's working. Abigail Williams, great guys and great band to me. So I mean, the package is strong. But anyways, to be honest, we were confident, of course, because we also believe the new album is doing really good. But I didn't expect this reaction.
Mhm.
So it's being great. I mean, we had great tours during Labyrinth promotion in also many other parts of the world, and America has always been good for us, but we are also positively surprised by this one in particular. So yeah, really really happy, and obviously super excited to play tonight at the Whiskey.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, so this tour has been so successful. Would you consider bringing this tour to other parts of the world, like other continents? Because I've been seeing people saying, "Hey, I would love to see this in Europe or love to see this in Asia." Would you do that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We're really finding ourselves really happy with this lineup, and we've been touring with Karak in a while now. We did a European tour with Karakangren and Septic Flesh 2 years ago, and it was amazing. Even in that case, we did Mexico last October, and that was a blast too. So I mean, we are actually considering the opportunity to do it again. We still have, of course, to be able to combine our schedules because we're really busy, both of us, of course. But I see that really the reaction is great, and that's also the reason why we decided to do this, because we really thought that uh, there's so many theatrical elements in our shows, so obviously they get along together very well. And in the meantime, there's a lot of contrast because our imaginary is really different from them. So I mean, there's so many things that are complementary, and of course, it is very important when on tour to find yourself comfortable with the people in the bands. And I mean, we've even in this case we've been sharing a bus for like 20 days, and it's been great. I mean, at this point we're good friends, so we obviously we know each other, and when it's like that, it's also even better because the atmosphere is relaxed, and obviously the tour is much more smooth. So from many points of view, we're finding ourselves very happy with this. So we're totally thinking about doing it again.
Great, but you think it will be another place, not U.S. again, North America?
I mean, of course, would like also to bring this to other places, and I know that there's a lot of fans that wish that. So I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so jumping to your new album, King is you just released this year,
Yeah.
and I know you have talked about it, and I've seen interviews of you talking about it. But if you don't mind saying a few words about it for the Spirit of Metal viewers.
Of course. Um, King, we are. First of all, I know I'm supposed to say this, but we are really, really happy with what we've done with this album, because it's been really a sort of, I think it is a starting point in a way, and also an ending point in other ways, because we've been searching in a while for the proper balance between all the elements in our music, and this kind of research has been of both in composition and arrangement, and also obviously from the production side. And of course, having so many elements in the music, it has been really really challenging, but I think that really we are really happy about this, because in this case we feel like we got what we expected, in the meaning that for the first time the sound of the album and also many things about the composition and the arrangement really reflects the original idea that we had. Not that that didn't happen before, but of course it took time to get to that point in which you're really satisfied about it, and we are. So I mean, and you know, also the reaction of fans and press in general. I mean, it's been so great until now that it's just a confirm of this, and so you know, we couldn't be happier than this about it, and we just couldn't, you know, wait to be finally on the road and start the promotion. So yeah.
Okay, I don't say this much on interviews at all, but your concept really blew me away because it's such a brilliant concept on this album. So you talk about this king and his court and everybody who's around him, and I saw one of your interviews saying that is not only tale
No, no,
of
of
a
course.
king, and is also about an internal journey. They could be related to that.
Yeah.
You be like this main figure, how you can strive, and also you have all these people around you and how all these feelings that you have to fight together. Is this something you did based on some personal experience?
I mean, we really like to talk about humans and the way we behave and how our behavior reflects on other people and the environment that surrounds us. And in this particular case, I really think that it is the first time that we've been also inspired a lot by the world itself, like the world that is surrounding us now. Because, I mean, we've always been, in a way, talking about a sort of, because I would say Fleshgod Apocalypse is not just doing concept albums, but indeed we are a concept band. So we've been really going through this kind of inner world during all our albums. I mean, if you think about Labyrinth, also was really really personal in that case, really about fears that everybody has to face inside. And in the case of King, we really liked to also try to make a sort of you know, yeah, it is a story about a court and a king, but of course this representation is really based on the world that is surrounding us now. This king is representing a world that we could say is the world we knew, in which there was still the ability to give importance to things that we really need. Those things that we need that are most of the times very simple and basic things and very deep feelings. And, you know, like in opposition to all these other characters that are representing all the superficial things that we really don't need and that now seem to be like, those things are like taking over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a feeling that we have towards many things, not only art, but also like the society in general. I mean, I think it's philosophically cyclical. It's something that always happened in history and it's happening now in this particular moment. But this is also to say, okay, everyone is a drop in the ocean. So if we can choose this king inside of ourselves, that is that part that is able to recognize which are the really important things and just don't, you know, get addicted to things that we actually don't need, then we can make the difference and we can also maybe invert this process that now seem to be so, you know, yeah, it's overwhelming. I mean, I'm not absolutely not negative in general, but you can see it. You know, I always talk about like one thing that it really shocks me sometimes is that now you turn on the TV and you see like all these reality shows and talent shows, and there's nothing more far from reality than that. So if I think that probably our kids are growing with that idea, it's a little, you know,
Yeah.
scary sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this is always also in reflection of what we have personally inside. So I mean, we are able to choose. We can choose.
Yeah.
We can really decide what to listen and what not to listen, and how to remember those things that we've been growing with when we were kids. That, you know, I don't want to say they were more pure, but obviously we still have an idea of what is real and what is not. Now it seems that it's getting confused. So we're just trying to send this message let's hail the king that we have inside. The king is someone who is able to take the responsibility to choose and to remember what is important and what is not.
Okay. And okay, so this is such a deep emotional subject, and your music is so aggressive and fast. Is it challenging for you to put these thoughts into lyrics that will be able to be translated to that kind of music?
I mean, on one hand, the fact that we have so many elements taken from symphonic music and of course classical music in a big part, is something that makes it a little easier, let's say, because of course uh, in our melodic and harmonic progressions there are so many things that actually sound romantic and classical, and that is a very emotional part of our music. And so I mean that helps in a way to get into those kind of atmospheres, because I really believe that I mean if we play just pure death metal music probably would be harder.
Yeah.
In this case there's so many elements at this point in our
Mhm.
music that is also sometimes hard to recognize between them, and that's good. It means that we're doing our job. And but in the meantime we really like the fact that there is such a big contrast, and the contrast is in the music as well as in the video clips as well as in the image of the
Mhm.
band
Mhm.
in the live shows. So, and because I really think that contrast is the basis for every feeling, every human feeling. So I mean it is beautiful to have so much beauty and so much violence in the meantime, because I really think that they really get along together very well.
Mhm. Okay, so you guys like concepts. You have stated that in many interviews. Your band, you deal with concepts all the time. So how do you work with the concept? Do you get them way before the recording of an album, and you just work through them from like for years or months, or do you get them like, oh, hey, I'm in studio right now, so I have to come up with a concept? How do you do that?
Usually, since we are very, yeah, I think we're a very visual band in the true meaning of the word, meaning that we always connect music with image. And I'm not just talking about image in a commercial way.
Yeah.
The fact that, like, images and music are two things that really are always together in our idea.
Mhm.
That means that we always start from a concept, because
Okay.
that's like the engine of the music too, and to the point that we really think about our albums when we start working on them as a sort of opera with different acts,
Mhm.
and it's not just songs into an album. So that means that the whole story, the whole kind of atmospheres that go throughout the story, the different characters we're talking about, they're extremely connected with the music that we're writing. And sometimes also uh, the songs are also thought uh, in a way that we already know that will fit also the storyboard of a certain video clip
Mhm.
that we have in mind. So it's all worked like if it was a sort of movie, but more
Mhm.
from the soundtrack point of view. But it's still something like a movie. So and that's also why we also in the video clips we always care about bringing out a story that really describes something or someone.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So the first video clip for this album was about the Queen, right? The
Yes.
character of the Queen. So was that a specific reason why you tackled that first? Because my way of viewing that is more is the Queen, but also vanity and how you're insecure about your image.
Yeah.
Was that a specific reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, we thought that between the many different aspects from which you could see this issue that is actually the whole concept of the
Mhm.
album, the thing about the, you know, aesthetic, the external, part of ourself and the image
Mhm.
was probably the strongest message, because in particular in this moment it happens so often that we are so much attached to the exterior just because we are so afraid of leaving the interior. So the queen is perfectly representing that, because she's a character who is extremely unhappy and extremely afraid to get old. And that is perfect because I mean if you think about it, time is always like the main thing about every fear that we have. So time was the perfect, you know, description of this concept, in my opinion. The fact that this person is afraid about time and is afraid about imperfection, while living our time without being afraid of it and being able to live into imperfection is exactly what makes us able to live in the present and indeed be happy and be, realized. So I mean, yeah, this character, we really thought that was the perfect character for this kind of to describe the whole concept in one song.
Okay, so for the videos, when I actually learned about you guys was through a video. So I'm not sure for videos for you guys is it just a bonus for you as an artist? Oh, I can make something visual and a bonus for our fans? Or is it more like, okay, let's reach out for people who haven't heard about us? Because I know it's probably both of them, but
Yeah.
what is the main objective for you as an artist?
I mean, the first thing is that, as I was saying, we thought about our music in such a visual way that it is really a need. That cinematic part is something that we really need. We just like it so much. So and that's why, I mean, we've been always working with Salvatore Perrone on the videos, so always the same person, and because at this point it's a team. I mean, it's not just him directing the videos, but it's Francesco Paoli and it's the whole band that is together with Perrone behind the concept, the shootings. I mean, we work together even on on the editing, on every aspect of the video as well as in the music. We really take part on the whole thing. So that's another artistic aspect that is really important for us to, to express ourselves. So it's a need in the first place. And of course, I mean, I really think that when there is a content into what you do, people enjoy that because it is really something that gives you more, it gives you a different perspective of the music itself too. And I'm really happy about the fact that actually it is a very big tool also, because I see that there's so many people that get to know Fleshgod Apocalypse because of the video clips. And also, of course, once you get into the music, obviously we know that also our fans always expect this because it is something that they know that is going to happen. And it's also so cool to, make fans happy, not just playing live or putting out music, but also they know that every time there's going to be a video clip for our music. That's really good.
And is it hard to get used to acting on these video clips?
Yeah, I mean, actually, besides, playback parts, and the violation in which we had some actual acting, for me this was the very first time in which I really had to do a lot more of acting. And also, this is something else that I really found, interesting and really enjoyed, because I mean, it's just a little taste of it, but I really got into something that showed me how every different art has so many issues to go through. I mean, I can only imagine how it could be to be an actor on a high level, like Hollywood actors or whatever. I mean, it's so difficult to get into those kind of feelings and to preserve those feelings and to be able to express them throughout your expression and what you do. I mean, and if it's hard on a video clip, I can only imagine how it could be when you're actually acting in a theater or for a movie. And so yeah, I mean, I really found it was something like, okay, so not only playing is so hard, there's so many other things that, but it's been extremely interesting, and I'm really happy about the way we did it, and I really liked it in the end. So I was really satisfied about it.
You guys play music in a way that is very unique, but all the elements you use have been used in metal before.
Yeah.
Why do you think you guys stand out so much? Because you're not even playing for 10 years. The band is pretty young,
Yeah.
considering other bands. Why do you think fans admire you so much?
I mean, I think that art in general is all about taking things from previous art and putting it together in a personal way. So those things that make something really personal and that makes people like that thing and recognize that thing is something that in a certain way cannot even be described, or you sometimes you cannot even recognize exactly which are those elements, but you know that they're there because you can just hear it, you can just feel it. And I really think that it is all a matter of not being anxious about what you're doing, but really be able to, in a very free way, just get inspiration from what you listen and from what you like, and just then take those things and mix those things with your personality. That is what makes that thing more than the sum of the elements. So I mean, I know that of course, like in every kind of art, in our music, there are elements contained that obviously already existed, but it's just that the infinite combinations between all those things make that thing your thing, and obviously make the difference in the end. And that's why probably people really like it. I mean, we never did things in a way like okay, we have to do this or that in a certain way. We really always try to follow our own flow and put there our inspiration and try to do things in a more personal way possible, and it's simply working. So I mean, then if we want to, like look it from a more technical point of view, I could say that probably compared to many other symphonic metal bands, the two elements that really come to my mind when I think about our own music is the fact that, first of all, and it's something that just few people notice, there is the fact that even if we sound really European for many reasons, into our music, from the metal side of the music, there is a lot of the American death metal school, especially the old school. We take a lot of inspiration from Morbid Angel,
Oh, really?
Cannibal Corpse, and in the riffing and in the drum fills and in the kind of rhythms that we use, there is a lot of that. That is very atypical in a way, because many bands in Europe that use like symphonic elements have much more elements that come from only European metal. And also the fact that also the use of orchestrations and the whole idea behind the orchestrations is actually, I don't want to say purely classical, because we have many modern elements, of course, but many structures, many melodies, and many harmonic progressions are actually really, really, really connected to the classic period, to the romantic period. So there is actually a lot of actual classical music in what we do, and that is maybe also something that makes the difference, and the fact that the kind of use that we do of those elements is really Italian, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of Italy in what we do, and you can, it's just where you come from. We can't help it. It's our imprinting,
Yeah.
so it works like that, I guess.
Okay, so I can't avoid this type of question. I know it's kind of standard, but for the future, what are you guys planning to do this the rest of the year? What are your plans to promote this album throughout the year?
We already have a lot of things going on, so that's really good. I mean, of course, first of all, for us, touring is really important because, as I said, like the visual part is very important, and that also means that it is so important for us to go and play the shows and bring that visual aspect that is typical of Fleshgod Apocalypse and get people to be able to see us. So there's so many places where we've already been and that we want obviously to go back, and also maybe new places where we have to go, because I mean, one example is South America. We've never been to South America and we're obviously thinking about it, for example. For now, we already have confirmed these headlining gigs in the UK in March. As soon as we come back, we got like 1 week off and then we're leaving again. And then there's this direct support to Enciferum in Europe that sounds really good. We're working on other stuff that I can't say for now. And of course the summer festivals in Europe. We got Hellfest, we got Metal Days, we got Grass Pop, so many good stuff coming up. And we'll see. I think it's gonna be 2 very busy years in general, so couldn't be better than that.
Yeah.